Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. Under the floodlights of FedEx Field, as the Washington Commanders gear up for their crucial Week 6 showdown against the Chicago Bears, the one name that keeps echoing through the locker room and across fan discussions is Terry McLaurin. The Commanders' star wide receiver, the heart and soul of their passing attack, has become the subject of growing concern as whispers of his lingering quad injury continue to dominate the headlines. Dan Quinn, ever the optimist, tried to put on a brave face earlier in the week. The new head coach expressed what he called genuine hope that McLaurin would be available for Monday Night Football, emphasizing that the team's medical staff was being cautious but confident. Yet, as each day passes without McLaurin fully participating in practice, that hope feels a little thinner, like a thread stretched too tight, ready to snap at any moment. For Commanders fans, who have already endured enough heartbreak over the years, this uncertainty feels painfully familiar. The story began a few weeks ago when McLaurin suffered a quad complication that forced him out of the lineup. Initially, the injury didn't seem catastrophic. The team decided against placing him on injured reserve, a move that would have automatically sidelined him for 4 weeks. Instead, the Commanders opted for patience, hoping that rest, treatment, and McLaurin's trademark resilience would speed up the recovery. The fact that he sought multiple medical opinions raised some eyebrows, but it also suggested a player determined to return the right way, not by rushing back too soon and risking something worse down the line. Still, as every day passes with him working on the sidelines, stretching instead of sprinting, watching instead of competing, the optimism around his return is fading. What was once described as a manageable situation has now turned into something of a mystery, and mystery in the NFL usually means trouble. For a player like McLaurin, whose career has been defined by relentless consistency, professionalism, and quiet excellence, this absence stings even more. Since arriving in Washington as a third-round pick out of Ohio State back in 2019, McLaurin has become one of the league's most dependable receivers, the kind of player who can turn an average quarterback's throw into a highlight reel. He's not the loudest guy in the room, not one for flashy celebrations or drama, but his game speaks volumes. Every time the Commanders have needed a clutch play, a third down conversion, a sideline toe tap, a deep shot to ignite the crowd, McLaurin has been there. That's why this injury hits differently. This isn't just losing a talented player. It's losing a stabilizing presence, a tone setter, a leader. The Commanders' offense without McLaurin has been a mixed bag. On one hand, they've managed to stay afloat, thanks in large part to the contributions of Deebo Samuel Sr., the dynamic veteran who's rediscovered his groove, and Luke McCaffrey, the rookie who seems to get better every week. Add to that the league-leading rushing attack that's been pounding defenses into submission, and it's clear that Washington isn't exactly falling apart. But make no mistake, this offense isn't the same without McLaurin's gravity. Defenses play differently when he's out there. Safeties cheat a little deeper, corners get nervous, and coordinators have to respect the deep threat that number 17 always brings. Without him, the field shrinks, and suddenly everything feels a bit more predictable. And then there's the emotional side of things. For McLaurin, this isn't just about missing time. It's about watching his teammates battle without him. Everyone who knows Terry will tell you that he's one of the most competitive guys in the league, the kind who hates standing still while others move forward. During his brief contract holdout this past summer, he made headlines for all the right reasons: respectful, patient, and committed to finding common ground with the organization. That's just who he is, professional to the core. So you can imagine how much it must eat at him to be sidelined now, so early in a season that feels like it could be something special under Dan Quinn's leadership. Every time he's seen on the sideline in sweats instead of pads, there's this look, focused, frustrated, but still hopeful. It's the look of a man who knows his team needs him, but also knows he can't help them if he's not fully healthy. This week's practice reports have only deepened the uncertainty. On Wednesday, when preparations for the Bears began, McLaurin was nowhere to be found on the field. That immediately set off alarms across social media and among the local beat reporters. Thursday was supposed to be the day when fans got a glimmer of hope, maybe a sign that their star wideout was turning the corner. Instead, they saw him doing light stretching with trainers, and taking part in a few warm-up drills before heading back to the sidelines. No helmet, no pads, no full-speed routes, just rehab work. It's not the kind of scene that inspires confidence with Monday night looming large. The Commanders technically have an extra day of rest and preparation since they're on the primetime slate, but even that cushion doesn't seem to be making much difference right now. For Dan Quinn, this situation is a delicate balancing act. On one hand, there's the obvious desire to win now. Washington sits at 3-2, right in the thick of the NFC playoff picture. A win on Monday would put them at 4-2 and keep the positive momentum rolling. But on the other hand, the long-term picture looms large. Pushing McLaurin back onto the field before he's truly ready could have devastating consequences later in the season. Muscle injuries like quads are tricky. They can feel fine one day and tighten up the next, and once they're re-aggravated, the recovery timeline resets completely. The Commanders have to think about December and January, not just October. They'll need McLaurin at his best when the playoff race tightens, when every possession matters, and when experience and poise make all the difference. For now, that means patience, even if it's painful. Meanwhile, the rest of the locker room is doing its best to rally in McLaurin's absence. Deebo Samuel Sr. has stepped into a leadership role with ease, bringing his trademark energy and swagger to every snap. Luke McCaffrey has become the surprise story of the season. Crisp routes, reliable hands, and a maturity that belies his rookie status. The running backs, led by a dominant offensive line, have been the engine that keeps this offense humming. There's a quiet belief in this group that they can hold the line until their captain returns. Still, every time someone mentions Terry, there's this pause, that unspoken acknowledgement that, yeah, it's different without him. The fans, of course, are on edge. Social media has been flooded with speculation, theories, and even a few conspiracy jokes about what's really going on behind the scenes. Some are pleading for transparency from the team, while others are urging patience and faith in McLaurin's judgment. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, a cautious approach from both player and franchise, trying to find the sweet spot between urgency and safety. Everyone knows how much McLaurin means to this organization. He's not just a wide receiver. He's the face of the Commanders' offensive identity, a role model for younger players, and a symbol of everything the team wants to stand for. If there's one thing fans can take solace in, it's McLaurin's work ethic. Throughout his career, he's been the definition of reliability, a player who does everything right, from conditioning to film study to community involvement. If anyone can come back stronger from this, it's him. But the road back might take longer than anyone initially hoped. The Commander's medical staff will continue to monitor him closely over the next few days, and if he doesn't log at least a limited practice by Saturday, the odds of him suiting up on Monday start to look slim. That's just the reality of the NFL's injury timeline. For now, the only thing left to do is wait. Wait for another update, another hopeful quote, another glimpse of number 17 catching passes in warm-ups. Until then, the uncertainty will linger. Maybe he surprises everyone and suits up under the primetime lights. Maybe the Commanders play it safe and hold him out one more week. Either way, the story of Terry McLaurin's comeback is far from over. In fact, it might just be getting started. Because when he finally steps back onto that field, fully healthy and ready to roll, you can bet he'll remind everyone why he's one of the most dangerous, respected, and beloved receivers in the game. For now, Washington waits, anxious, hopeful, and holding its breath for the moment their star finally returns to shine again. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. The NFL world was buzzing this week after an unexpected and fiery moment unfolded during a live press conference that has fans and insiders talking nonstop. Terry McLaurin, the electrifying wide receiver known for his speed, hands, and fearless style on the field, didn't hold back when he spoke about his frustrations with the Atlanta Falcons' defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn. The clip, which has already gone viral across social media platforms, shows McLaurin leaning forward, eyes sharp, voice steady but dripping with exasperation, and dropping a comment that instantly sparked speculation. He has to stop inventing schemes. The simplicity of the statement only made it more explosive. On its surface, it seems like a casual jab, but anyone familiar with the layers of NFL strategy knows this is a loaded remark. Every word McLaurin uttered feels like it carries the weight of locker room tension, tactical disagreements, and perhaps, just maybe, a deeper critique of how players perceive coaching decisions in real time. Rumors immediately started swirling that McLaurin has been quietly frustrated with Quinn's defensive adjustments all season. Sources close to the team have hinted that the wide receiver, despite being on the offensive side, has strong opinions about the defensive patterns his team faces and how those schemes affect the rhythm and tempo of the game overall. It's a dynamic that often gets overlooked. Offensive players are acutely aware of how opposing defensive strategies impact their performance, especially someone like McLaurin, who thrives on timing, spacing, and anticipation. Insiders suggest that McLaurin has been vocal in team meetings, advocating for more predictability in defensive alignments, or at the very least, less experimentation during high-pressure games. And now, for the first time, he's taking that critique public in a way that few players dare to do. The context of this remark is critical. Dan Quinn, a coach with a reputation for innovation, has often been described as someone who enjoys implementing unconventional schemes and rotating players in unexpected ways. While this approach has yielded success in past years, some argue that it can confuse the team's own roster, especially younger players who are still trying to find their footing. McLaurin's comment seems to tap directly into that tension. In a league where precision and cohesion are everything, even small misalignments can be costly. Fans immediately picked up on the implications. Is McLaurin suggesting that Quinn's creativity is hindering the team's performance? Is there a subtle hint that some players feel overcoached or mismanaged? The answers aren't clear, but the speculation alone has created a wildfire of conversation across sports forums, Twitter threads, and YouTube comment sections. What makes this scenario particularly juicy for rumor mongers is the timing. The NFL is entering a crucial stretch of the season where every game matters and playoff aspirations hang in the balance. Coaches are expected to be meticulous, strategic, and, crucially, predictable enough that players can execute their roles without hesitation. Yet here comes McLaurin, a player who has consistently shown he's not afraid to speak his mind, openly criticizing the very schemes that Quinn is known for. Some analysts are already drawing parallels to other high-profile player-coach spats, noting that the tension between innovation and execution is a recurring theme in the league. When a player of McLaurin's caliber, someone who consistently draws attention from cornerbacks, safeties, and opposing coordinators, raises concerns about coaching strategies, it's not just a minor gripe. It's a story that could affect locker room morale and even influence how opponents perceive the team's vulnerabilities. Social media erupted almost instantly after the clip surfaced. Fans of McLaurin praised his honesty, framing him as a no-nonsense athlete who refuses to tiptoe around issues, while others criticized him for airing internal frustrations publicly. Some commentators suggested that this could be a tactical move, intended to send a message to the coaching staff and management, signaling that the players are aware of the challenges on the field and are eager for adjustments that could maximize efficiency. Meanwhile, conspiracy theories and speculation about locker room politics began circulating. Is this the beginning of a broader player-led movement advocating for more input in game plans? Could it lead to shifts in coaching responsibilities or even personnel changes down the line? No one knows for sure, but the rumors aren't slowing down anytime soon. Another layer to consider is McLaurin's own career trajectory. Known for his relentless work ethic and meticulous preparation, he's someone who approaches each game with a nearly obsessive focus on performance. Observers speculate that his frustration may not just be about Quinn's schemes themselves, but about the way these schemes impact the team's ability to execute cleanly on the field. In a league where timing, precision, and adaptability are crucial, even a single confusing defensive rotation or unconventional call can disrupt the flow of an offense. McLaurin's public statement could be interpreted as an attempt to steer the conversation toward clarity and consistency, advocating for a playing environment that maximizes the team's strengths rather than introducing avoidable complications. Some insiders suggest that if this tension continues to simmer, it might prompt broader discussions between coaching staff and veteran players, ultimately influencing how schemes are designed and implemented in future games. The reaction from the Falcons organization, as of now, has been measured. Dan Quinn himself has remained largely diplomatic in public statements, emphasizing the importance of player feedback while maintaining confidence in his approach. Yet, the tension is palpable. Behind the scenes, sources indicate that the coaching staff has been taking note of McLaurin's comments, and while no formal action has been taken, the remark has already sparked heated discussions within team meetings. It's a rare glimpse into the often opaque world of NFL strategy, where what happens off the field can sometimes be just as impactful as the on-field play. For fans and analysts, McLaurin's words provide a tantalizing hint that there's more to the team's narrative than wins and losses. There's drama, personality, and the human element of sports clashing with high-level strategy. The incident also raises questions about leadership dynamics. McLaurin is not just a player. He's increasingly seen as a leader within the locker room, someone willing to voice opinions that others might shy away from. This kind of outspoken behavior can inspire teammates who share similar frustrations but have felt hesitant to speak up. Conversely, it can create friction if coaching staff interpret it as public dissent. In this delicate balance, the story of McLaurin versus Quinn, or, more accurately, McLaurin questioning Quinn, could evolve into a defining subplot of the season. Sports pundits are already weighing the potential consequences. Could this tension ignite a mid-season adjustment that propels the team forward, or could it signal deeper fractures that need to be addressed before they affect results on the scoreboard? Adding fuel to the fire, rival teams and their fan bases have not remained silent. Clips of McLaurin's comment have been replayed repeatedly, with some mocking the Falcons' defensive creativity, while others speculate that the criticism might actually reflect a broader trend in the league, where players are increasingly assertive about their preferences and expectations from coaching staff. The ripple effects are intriguing. Analysts predict that if more players follow McLaurin's example, we could see a subtle shift in how teams manage internal feedback, balancing innovation with clarity to avoid confusion and maintain morale. The comment, though brief, has become a lightning rod for discussions about coaching philosophy, player empowerment, and the evolving nature of professional football leadership. Ultimately, Terry McLaurin's blunt jab at Dan Quinn has opened a door to a story far richer than a simple critique. It's a story about transparency, tension, and the sometimes volatile relationship between player instincts and coaching strategy. As the season continues, fans, insiders, and analysts alike will be watching closely to see whether this sparks tangible changes on the field or remains a dramatic, viral moment that fades over time. Either way, McLaurin's words, he has to stop inventing schemes, will echo in locker rooms, media rooms, and fan discussions for weeks, if not months. It's a reminder that in the NFL, every statement carries weight, every rumor has potential, and every player's voice can become part of the larger narrative shaping the sport. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.